Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Thank God. I said 3 words. We lost those words.
We lost those words. Are
They'll
gone.
never come back.
It's so true.
Wait, so tell me about this gig.
So I'm doing. So next week Sunday, when the next time we record.
Yeah.
You asked me when I was coming back, and by God, I wish I knew. And I will find out later. Okay. But I'm flying back. I'm opening for Brian Regan at a in Salt Lake City. 7,000 people in the round.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that's going to be like, but I've never done.
They must have
round.
monitors everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's got to be Jumbotron, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it's.
That's cool.
Get
And
settled on your couch here. Yes.
Kathleen Madigan sold out 2 2,000-seat
Yeah, theaters
shows
in Denver. Yeah, I
That's
wonder if they thought it
amazing.
was me. You know how popular I am in Denver.
Well, I mean, she's just so fucking consistent.
She's
right?
amazing.
Yeah, and she keeps killing. It's like 3rd decade of killing.
Yeah.
And she's not like super flashy, you know.
No, she's just got what she has is she has a man's career. She really does.
Right.
And it's never been anything like on like she's just done it, you know.
Yeah. What are you writing?
She's a man's career because I think
okay.
we could call the show
Sure.
that, even though we're in the first minute.
Yeah. No. Title already uttered. Yes.
Yeah, so very possible. And yeah. So but because her career there, you know, I've looked at it because I've been compared to her for
Right.
so long.
Right.
Yet we are so enormously different.
Correct. Right.
But because and who else was I talking to? I might have been talking to Martha Kelly, but we were like, I never noticed how much sexism there was until the Me Too thing.
Yeah.
And there was other people talking about. I was like, oh, I thought that was just comedy. I thought that was just the gig. I thought that you know that's what the kitchen, how hot the kitchen was. Just fucking work around it.
Yeah.
And it turns out there's been. You know, and I am grateful for my career, and I am happy with where I'm at. But but there has been blockades and obstacles that are artificially created that I never noticed until like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
And I am genuinely, I was born 100 years old.
Well,
but
but
you
also
think,
your brain has to not let you see that stuff because it's so painful, and you can't.
I can't change
You
it.
can't change it. It's like if you actually become hyper aware of every obstacle that you will have to overcome to have any sort of success. And this is for any comic, basically.
Right.
But then when you add in whatever exists for women and the sexism we're going up against with bookers, with certain audience members, with, you know, executives of Comedy Central or executives everywhere, like why any of us still do it. You have to pretend it doesn't exist.
Right. And
you have to
just go,
tell yourself I'm
if
one
I
of the
just do
good
the work,
ones.
right.
Right.
If I just do the work, they'll see the work. If I do the
Right.
work, they'll see the work. And it's like a freaking mantra that I've been chanting to myself. And it's not true, right? But I saw, you know, now this, you know, they take clips of people's chatter, and it was Michelle Obama talking about how she can't fix someone's prejudice and discrimination because those people are broken. All she can do is try to be a person, and the unspoken part of it was like, and then maybe they'll treat me like a person.
Right.
Then I'll get to be a person. And she's like, all I can do is keep showing up and doing the work and keep showing up and doing the work. And loving my family and my life, and maybe even loving them and their lives and their children and their people. And maybe then they'll just know that I'm human. And I was like, yeah, how's that been working out for us? It's a slow fucking road.
Well, it works for her. She's doing very well.
She personally is doing very well, but
making a lot of money.
And I think and there has been progress, obviously, right? In all of in with racism and with sexism. And it's only just that every rock is turned over right now. And so we're seeing a plethora of noobs.
I feel like we aren't really qualified to say if racism's getting better.
You
know
really
what I mean?
think? You think that this enormously pale room is not the not the one? But yeah. But we can with sexism, so
Sure.
sure,
No, but
maybe.
I mean, is it? There's the sheer number of female comics that are working now is, they weren't working with those. We weren't working with those numbers in the early 90s,
right?
For whatever reason, I don't know. They went, tried for a little bit and was like, I can't fucking handle this shit. And now it's a little less bad, or maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not open micing right now.
Right, and I'm not 24.
Right.
I mean, the hump that I had to get over to get here is long past, and it's a different hump now, right?
Yes, it's just new. It's new things to use against us, and new things that we have to.
There's
work
benefits
around.
and there's new workarounds and there's new benefits and all these things, but
But how does that tie
Kathleen
to
Madigan
Kathleen? Yeah.
was just the fact that she's been doing, I sense, what we've been doing.
Yeah.
She's just keeping her head down, working like a madman. And what I've been fascinated with her career for the last 15 or 20 years since I've really sort of really started to really see her, because I never ran into her, of course.
Right.
Is trying to figure out, like, is it that she got management? Did she move out here earlier? And I've never been able to figure out what the deal was, because she's from, Missouri or Kansas or something.
She's from
St. Louis
Kansas, yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's from Missouri. Kansas. Well, no, St. Louis. You're right.
I think St. Louis.
Well, she did get management early, but she wrote really short TV ready jokes.
Happy jokes, yeah.
I mean, they were clean, but they were also short, and
that's what that's what Carson and Letterman
yes, and
raised us to
she
believe.
did the Bob Hope special.
Oh, that's
I
right.
was just at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach, and there's all these posters of Bob Hope movies, and I'm like, my kid and his friends are not going to give a fuck about this guy. Like, we know who he was, right?
I own the road movies. Andy Ashcraft hates them with the power of the sun.
Well, I mean, we were sort of raised with them, right?
I was raised with them.
With Bob
Yes.
Hope.
Are you kidding? It was the only comedy I watched.
Millennials are like, oh, that guy. And it's just it's so strange. It's so interesting to watch who my son thinks is important and who his friends think are important, you know? And Bob Hope to him is going to be like, some Catskills guy that we've never heard of to just a guy from a long time ago. And
Bob Hope in the 70s was one of the creepiest fucking dudes in the world.
And the jokes are,
and I hated them.
When you look at the jokes now, they're like, ugh, geez, a lot of them. I mean, but his timing was great in his movie. It's just weird how
I spent Halloween watching Abbott and Costello movies.
Really?
Yeah, I watched Abbott and Costello.
That seems like
Dr.
an assignment.
Except for that, Abbott and Costello are hilarious.
Yeah.
Abbott and Costello, in my opinion, are funnier than the fat and skinny guy.
Stan, Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah. Abbott and Costello are smarter and funnier, and there's still plenty of physical comedy, and there's still plenty of goofballedness. But I freaking love the Abbott and Costello monster movies. And first of all, it has everybody in them. Like Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney and all the old monster dudes play their monsters in these movies because Abbott and Costello were huge fucking deals. And so we watched Jekyll and Hyde, Frankenstein, and The Invisible Man. And then I also watched, because I had Mary Bakay on the Dork Forest that I recorded with, and her dorkdom was Chinese vampires and ghosts. Huh. And first of all, I said to Mary Bakay, "How did we meet?" And she was like, "I was a comic of the week on." I was like, "Damn it." Anyway, it's going to be a really great episode, because here's the thing about Chinese ghosts. Chinese ghosts are terrifying and will kill you. Chinese vampires are stupid dum-dums. And there's a billion movies about Chinese vampires that are stupid dum-dums. And on Night of Halloween, I looked one up on YouTube, threw it to the big screen because it got the Chromecast, and we watched it, and it was not subtitled. And it was still perfectly understandable because Chinese vampires are dum-dums.
Okay.
And it was hilarious and ridiculous, and the acrobatics were Jackie Chan-like. Anyway, your son would like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because...
That's when I get interested. Oh, interesting. All
nodding
right.
politely, nodding politely. I picked up so many sets this week.
You were and so your Halloween was watching movies.
Watching movies and handing out. 150 kids came to our house.
Nice. That's good.
We live in a very blue-collar, breedy neighborhood.
Yeah.
Van Nuys.
My kid went as his idea was drunk
I saw
drunk
that
wizard.
picture. Drunk wizard.
So he had his Harry Potter cape that we got in at the Harry
London,
Potter Studios,
sure.
right? Okay. And so we got a beard here in
Sure.
Burbank on Magnolia at Halloween Town. And my mom...
He's not growing it out? I thought you said he was Hispanic. Anyway.
My mom, she buys vodka that comes
At
in
Costco.
plastic bottles.
At Costco.
Yes. And so I emptied out one of her bottles and I put it, not into the sink, but into a different
Into a pitcher?
steel container or something. And so he took this empty plastic vodka bottle to school, which I thought was funny. And I washed it out. You couldn't smell vodka.
Nothing?
No.
Oh, and of course.
I got to call it 8:07 from the principal.
Right. Yeah, you can't bring an empty bottle of vodka to school. Yeah,
Well,
you can.
You know what? Okay, but you can have fangs, vampire fangs that actually would go in someone's neck. That's okay, Jackie.
Nobody's got that either. That's not real.
I saw it.
Alcoholism is real, and fangs are not.
Anyway, so he had detention.
Did he have detention? He was like, "Mom, did he blame you?"
Well, no, he
That you should have
refused
known
to
better?
surrender the bottle because he thought my mom would need it back. It's like grandma's
Wow.
vodka bottle. Yeah.
Is she buying it in tanks, and she's just coming out here and refilling it?
He
from
knew
a
that
tank?
she had vodka sitting in a stainless steel container,
Oh, and he
and that
thought that
she'd
she
want to
would
pour
wanna
it
put it
back
back.
in
Okay.
instead of in her mouth, which she did. But
no, sorry, kid.
He was a little bummed,
Yeah.
and didn't want to go out. And then one of his friends called at 8:30, and they
for the
jostled
last
him.
half hour?
Yeah, and they went out and got a ton of candy. So
That's
it was okay.
the last half hour. Because the last half hour is always high school and junior high kids.
Yeah.
who are like just wearing hoodies. Yeah, and the best ones. And I might have told you this before, but the best one was 3 kids. They had to be 15.
Yeah.
and they all just had sunglasses on. And pillowcases, right? But they were and sticks. They were pretending to
don't
be
even
blind.
try.
No, they actually did because one of them faced one wall,
Oh
one of
my
them faced the
God.
other wall, and the other one faced the door.
Hilarious.
And Andy was like, "What are you guys?" And they're like, "Sir, we can't see." and we gave them a bunch of candy.
Great. That's
and
hilarious.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was
Gotta
fun.
give the teenage, they're clinging on to their childhoods. It's about to be a shit world out there. Let them get fucking candy when they're 15 for free.
We don't have any problem with when. And then
you
some
should
people
see on Next Door, people are raging.
Oh, and some people get all mad about babies and arms. Like, you're just like, your baby doesn't need candy. And you know what we give them? We give them candy, but Andy also buys at Oriental Trading, made by toddlers, for toddlers, little tiny stuffed animals of Frankenstein and Dracula and
Oh, that's
witches and
cute.
ghosts.
Oh, that's so nice.
So babies get a little stuffed animal thing, and which were like a nickel, and then they also get candy for their parents.
I can tell you that I had a mix of Snickers bar and Kit Kats, and people were shoving the Snickers bars away, searching for the Kit Kats. Next time, only Kit Kat bars. Kids don't like Snickers anymore.
Weird.
They like Kit Kat bars.
Our lives have changed.
And
A wafer. People like a crunchy wafer.
I ran out, sadly.
And
then
did a set?
No. I ran out of candy.
Oh, you ran out of
And then I had to do cookies. I wrapped up cookies and gave them away. And then,
just dollars at the end of it. Just take, here's a buck, kid. Get yourself something pretty.
Triscuits.
Triscuits. Swim lessons.
My kid had his physical He's
Oh,
5'10" and a quarter.
Whoa.
That's not bad for third. It's not Kyle levels.
Right.
How old were you? How tall were you?
6 foot in 6th grade.
Judas.
And when you were 11 years old.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
And I was 6'6" probably by the end of my freshman year.
6'6" by your 15, 14, 15.
Yeah, 15. By 15, I was 6'6".
That breaks my heart. That's too much responsibility for a freshman.
Oh, I've got a lot of trauma from therapy I'm working on.
Kyle's working it out, you guys. It turns out that's why he does comedy. And
Yeah. So that was that, and then I was at the. I've been.
you were at the Long Beach Laugh Factory?
So I've been doing like these kind of chill sets this week where the stakes are not that high.
Yeah.
And I've just been working on new chunks, right?
Good for you.
And a couple lab sets. You know how the lab can be?
Yeah, your name was up at the lab. I saw
was
that.
nice, yeah. And then, but they were fun sets. And I did a set at the West Side in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
And then tonight I was like going to the Laugh Factory in Long Beach. And that can be, you know.
I don't know. Do you know why? Because it's in Long Beach. What are you doing? Why are you going to Long Beach?
It's an hour.
I
It's
love
like a 40-minute drive.
I don't
45.
mind 40-minute drive.
Tonight it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
It depends on when you are. Okay.
Yes, very much
So-
so. I used to do sets down there, but
Yeah.
it was
But the crowds can be not great, not smart.
it's super road. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. But
And,
but you can bring it, obviously.
Yes. So then I also decided I'm not going to listen to my punchline sets for a month. I just
Okay.
want to give my brain time to clear, just get these jokes out of my head so that when I listen to them, I can be maybe entertained.
We are different people. Do you know that I listened to all 5? There were 7 sets, but I picked, I think 3 or 4 that I was like, these are the ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to them before on the Sunday,
Okay.
so I could give them to the label guy. So, but you're just going to give yourself a month.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
It's a good
I just
idea.
want to relax, and I'm enjoying not going up on stage, having to work on certain chunks.
That's amazing.
Because I realized like this hasn't been fun for like 3 months at least, because I'm like, this one isn't right yet and I'm recording it.
Right.
And so now I'm just kind of having fun. And then I was at the Laugh Factory and I'm like, ooh. So I did a couple, older bits and established myself, and then did the new stuff, and it kind of worked. It worked enough where I'm like,
Yeah.
there's hope.
There you go.
There's hope on all 3 of these little bits.
It turns out there will be hope.
Yes. So
That's great.
So that's cool. I'm kind of in a I feel like in a lighter comedy mood, just because
You look more. I mean, you sound relaxed.
Oh,
You
really?
Sound like much more calm, less wound like a fucking top. Yes, it's great.
Goodness.
That's outstanding. I did 6 sets this week.
That's great.
I ended up I did
On the weekend or the whole week?
the whole week. I did
Okay.
a Tuesday. I picked up a set at Flappers, and then I had a late Tuesday at the Improv, and man, I saw some amazing stand up this week from other comics.
Yeah.
And myself plugging along. Just, working on,
Sure.
I'm working on this chunk that remains slightly too big, and the parts that work, I will just go to if there's any sort of, if the audience is mad at any point or not receptive, I'm like, bail.
Yeah.
Just work on the other thing. But I do have a couple of new lines that I think will make some of this stuff work. Otherwise, so I recorded on Friday. I think it was whatever it was. It was, I think, maybe who cares? I was on the wrong side of the 134. Because I recorded the JPL NASA Caltech thing,
Right.
where I interview scientists.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, got to listen to scientists riff to each other, kind of like comics. It was
Really?
kind of, they were talking about exoplanets and the habitable zone, and like habitable planets that are so far away, and the difference. Some of them are made out of ice, but used to be. And they were sort of correcting each other, but supporting each other. It was like they were just sort of. They were riffing.
Interesting.
And I was sitting there going, oh, this isn't funny at all, but boy, am I learning things.
Yeah.
And Trapped on the Wrong Side, 5:00 in Pasadena.
Oh, God.
So literally, I just meandered my way
Yeah.
to, it must have been Friday night, I think it was, because my set on Friday was at 11 o'clock at the Improv. So I went to the Ice House. And I was like, who is running the Ice House now?
You did?
Yeah, I just stopped and I talked to the guy in the ticket booth.
Yeah.
And he didn't know. And but he was like, I know it isn't D anymore.
Yeah.
It might be Mitch. I'm not certain. And I was like, okay, well, all right. And then now it's 5:15. Still terrible time to be anywhere in your car.
Right.
I meandered slowly to Flappers.
Okay.
And so I stop at Flappers and I see Will and I'm telling him that I was like, what do you know about who's booking at the Ice House right now? And he's like, I don't.
You're an investigative journalist.
Well,
at heart.
I had a lot of time. It turns out the highways were still bad. And Will offered me 2 sets. So I picked up a 9:30 in the Yoo-Hoo and a 10 o'clock in the main room.
Oh my God.
And then
that's
an
so
11 o'clock at
sweet.
the Improv.
Wow.
And so then I go home. I come back to the Flappers at 9. Do it, do 2 sets, go to the Improv, do another set. And
that's a great Tuesday. Is that a Tuesday night?
that was, I think it must have been Friday. The Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
So the Tuesday I was working with our comic of the week where are we at?
We are at
Close enough?
Yeah, I thought you
Well,
were
why
a
don't-
little optimistic there.
That felt optimistic, but why don't we do a break as long as we're doing it?
Okay.
We are so thrilled at your interest in attending Hieronymus Wigginstaff's School for Heroism and Villainy. Wigginstaff's beautiful campus boasts state-of-the-art facilities and instructors with real-world experience. We are also proud to say that our alumni have gone on to be professional heroes and villains in the most renowned kingdoms in the world. But of course, you are not applying to the main school, are you? You're applying for our sidekick and henchperson annex. You will still benefit from the school's amazing campus, and you'll have a lifetime of steady employment. Of course, there's no guarantee how long that lifetime will be.
Join the McElroys as they return to Dungeons & Dragons with The Adventure Zone Graduation, every other Thursday on Maximum Fun, or wherever podcasts are found.
So we could do the comic of the week because, whatever. I'll start with this. Is
Okay.
that I saw so many You know how Goofuses.
Yeah.
These are names I will be saying because
Okay.
they were all great.
Okay.
People are talking about PC culture and
Yeah.
you can't do everything has to be watered down and all this stuff.
Right.
I saw a series of comedians this week talk about the darkest, most current button pushing-y stuff. Make
Yeah.
it funny, make it personal.
Yeah.
And make it their own. So on Tuesday, I think who was it? I saw Adam Conover
Right.
from Adam
And
Ruins.
was everything. Yeah.
Yeah, Adam Ruins Everything. And he discussed homelessness, and our comic of the week was hosting. But he discussed homelessness, and it was about how dumb it was and how we were not fixing it. And then his analogy was such a funny analogy about food and water
Yeah.
and shelter. Food, water, and shelter being the 3 things that everyone agrees that everyone needs. And
Yeah.
no one makes fun of the other 2 if you don't have them. They
Yeah.
don't assume that you're some kind of asshole.
Right, right.
And but it was funnier than that. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
give away anything, obviously, on any of this stuff. And then the late Tuesday, I think that was the night I saw Neil Brennan and Byron Bowers. Byron Bowers has an amazing suicide bit.
Really?
It is not about his suicide.
Yeah.
Just about suicide.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're like, oh, that's gold. That's, I mean, I think he closed on it, so I think he knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And then Neil Brennan went up, and he did a chunk about, and it's a take on it that I've heard before, or a premise that I've heard before. His take on it was kind of an act out. It was great. It was about gun control, and it was about how people who use their I need an AR-15 because I'm going to need to fight the government one day, and then he did a beautiful freaking act out of what that would be like.
Oh, wow.
Which essentially, and I've heard Gronkowski used to have a bit about how if you're going to fight the army, and your weapon that you have because you're going to fight the government, you're not going to win.
They're gonna,
But Rontowski's take was about Americans in general.
yeah.
Neil Brennan's take was literally about 200 NRA guys, and he did an act out. And it was like a scene, and it was really beautiful, well constructed. And then Friday night whatever, I saw Nick Novicki. You know Nick Novicki? He's very short. He's a little person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
He was in New York for a long time.
right.
Yeah.
I think so. And he was on Boardwalk.
Okay.
The Boardwalk
Oh, okay.
Empire.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. And so he had just some really great takes on just rage and stuff. It was awesome. And then on Saturday night I saw Dave Reinitz,
Yeah.
who owns
At Flappers.
At
Yeah.
Flappers. And he went up and he made it personal, Kyle. We were talking about this. And it was about how it was about billionaires. It was about billionaires and gun control and like social stuff, but he made it so personal and compared it to the romaine lettuce ban, and it had this sort of. It was a great bit. I mean, I think he got off. He said it's a little too long, and I was like, "Well, you're in my wheelhouse, buddy." That's what it is. And then I would like to put a button on it by talking about our comic of the week.
Yes.
Who is Dawn Brodey. Dawn Brodey. And is it Dawn _Brodey?
Cool.
DAWN_Brodey, BRODEY. So on Tuesday, I saw her do this bit, and Adam and I are sitting in the audience. It's light. It's like a 10 o'clock set in the main room on a Tuesday at Flappers.
That's Burbank where people are.
So there were
working
35,
class going
40
to bed.
people there.
Right.
And which
not
isn't
bad.
bad. Yeah, which is pretty good. It was in the main room. And she did this joke about Syria, comparing it to her uterus and this surgery, and it was super dark,
Yeah.
but it was so well crafted that they laughed and then
Yeah.
they shut themselves down because it was so dark. And then they just stared at her. And I was, again, this was not called for, but I ended up yelling in the room, "Hey, you assholes." Because I was clapping. I was like, "You assholes, laugh at that. That's amazing. That joke is amazing." And I just yelled it from the audience and clapped. Anyway,
Hey,
so
it's Tuesday Late Show. You're out of control.
I'm out of control. I know how to party. But Dawn Brodey, find her.
Okay, yeah.
And see her do stand-up because she is a delight.
Cool.
Speaking of parties, I got one more story for you.
Okay.
Which is I went to a small, tiny
This has
gathering.
been the most chill podcast I've been participated in.
I know, and you're really listening very well. It's been very nice.
I'm excited that you like comedy again.
I know. It is nice. It is nice.
You've seen some stand-up comedy.
I've seen some comedy lately that I've enjoyed, which is always fun.
Yes.
Yeah, because to sit and watch terrible stand-up comedy is sometimes our lot in life.
Yeah.
And and it can be maddening and depressing, but not this week. It was a good one. So I went to a small gathering this afternoon that I was led to believe started at 3 p.m. and went till 5. So I was like, all right, well, I'll do some editing, all of my Dork Forest editing. I'll do that because I had Sharon Houston on and Mary BeKay and then also Tiff Stevenson.
Oh, wow,
Those are
cool.
the three I edited. Tiff is...
Oh, I went and saw her show Mother.
Did you?
Yes.
It's tonight. It'll be Monday. It's at Lyric Hyperion tonight.
Oh, go see it. It's really great.
9 p.m., $7, Lyric Hyperion. Everybody just go. It won all kinds of stuff at Edinburgh.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really great.
And it's about her being a stepmom, right?
Yeah.
She said?
Yeah, and women,
her-
and everything.
Yeah,
She
and everything.
kind of puts a lot of stuff through that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I saw it at the lab.
Oh,
Yeah, I had a set. I forget where it was, but I was done early. Oh, I did the bunker.
okay.
You know, which is the speakeasy and
You were telling me about
yeah,
it.
it's the old cabinet.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so I popped over, and I never do that, but I didn't have my kid, and I was
Right.
like, "What am I going to come home to, fucking plastic vodka bottle lady?" No. So I went to the Improv, and I never hang, but I was like, I'm just going to relax and hang out. I'm not trying to get on this show because she's doing an hour. It's not
Right.
even a show I could get on.
Right.
So I'm just going to enjoy it. It was really great.
You didn't check in the main room, see if anyone...
No.
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 I always tend to check in.
Oh, you
with the
do? Do
sound
they
guy.
let you?
Yeah.
Do they
if
give you?
if you check in with the sound guy,
Oh.
and if somebody doesn't show up,
Oh.
you get that set.
All right. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm still like I have a garden that needs tending here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
And so I right now I'm in this mode of do the set and get back.
Yes. Yeah.
And it won't be that way always. And it's not when I don't have my son, you know. I'm a real regular comic again, but
and I don't know that. I mean, if you end up when he goes to college or wherever he goes to art school, if you end up hanging out again, I will. Kudos to you, because I don't have any of that, and I don't want to hang out. And the only reason I hung out at any of those, because I ended up picking up a set at the Ice House last minute,
cool.
on Saturday. Because
were you there hanging out?
I was hanging out on Friday.
Yeah.
And then on
wait, you went to the Ice House on Friday?
When I was trapped on the other side.
Oh, that was
right?
Friday.
That was Friday. And so Saturday, I get a text from Carmen Morales saying that a buddy of hers is looking for someone to go up at his show at the Ice House. So I was like, oh, is it in the small room on the side? And they're like, yeah.
That's a great room.
That's a great room. I haven't been in it in
half
years.
These clubs, their second rooms are actually more fun than the main ones.
They can be, for sure.
Yeah.
And I went in there, but I had another set at Flappers on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I was like, can I go very first? Like, just MC says hi, first comic. And so I went up, and I realized that working on the new 15 that I'm working on, it's okay, but it works better if they're warmed up. And
Sure, right.
Right. So I don't know that that's what I'll open with anymore. Sort of the thing about Antoine Young, I may not open my set with that, the long set these days.
I need a new opening joke.
Weird. But anyway, so
I just pondered for a second.
Right,
yes, back to your story.
Back to me, which I never finished. I went to the party.
Well, you did finish 6 other stories.
It's true.
In this
It's
podcast,
true. We got.
if I can say.
You can say. You don't want to hear that I was this. I'm not the hero of this story.
Finish it.
I'm not the hero of the story, because I thought this party started at 3. Party started at 5:30. So I got there at 3.
Oh,
Hung out until 5:30.
No, you can't do that.
Told me to.
You should have left.
And come back. I know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do, but not in this case. So I hung out with my friend Stephanie and Connie.
They don't like you anymore. I have news for you.
Well, at 6:00, I was like, "Well, I have to go." And the reason for the party, which was a small birthday party, showed up. Everyone showed up around 5, and the birthday girl showed up around 5 as well. And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to leave at 6. I'm so sorry." And so it came to pass, but. Yeah, I'm not very good, even small parties with, 10 people that I know pretty well. And I was like, this has been great hanging out with 2 people for 2.5 hours. I'm going to fuck off now.
Oh my God.
And it was great.
I would have had an anxiety attack.
Well, I wonder. So, we're going to, first of all, we should tell people about the stand.
Okay, so the stand, we're still doing the show on the 16th, November 16th.
Tickets still available.
New York City. Our time has changed. We were at 10 o'clock?
9.
9. And now we're at 6 o'clock.
Which is better, because then.
Is that what you're telling yourself?
Yeah. Is that
okay?
Bad?
No, I mean, you can, guess what? You can do other stuff after our podcast. It doesn't have to
You
be
can
your whole,
go to your homes.
Whole night.
I've gotten so many emails from people saying, "You're doing an afternoon show in Portland. I can't wait. That's awesome."
Oh, really?
Yeah, people
cool.
are psyched.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
So it'll be a 6 o'clock, maybe to 7:30, I guess.
Well,
right?
6 to 8. I
6
would
to
think
8. It'll
yeah.
be and
we'll be done by 8:15, so they can turn the room over, because the next
we'll be
show's
done
at
by
9,
8.
right?
I'm sure, right? If we each do,
we're each doing 30s, and then we're doing an hour, right?
Yeah, I mean, do we have to do 30?
You don't have to, but I want to.
Okay, we'll see. I'll see what I have.
Okay.
I don't want to do stuff
Oh, you don't want to do stuff that you just recorded?
Yes,
Okay.
unless it's this one bit that I'm still sort of working on. But
Okay.
But if the audience is there for a show, but if it's all comics, I don't want to do old material in front of comics.
No, it's not going to be comics.
Okay, I don't know who's going to be. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, but anyway,
I got a
change.
bunch of friends from New York that are coming. That
Really?
none of them are comics.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, then
Yeah.
I'll do some stuff that works.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. If you could put on a show for
I'll
my
entertain
friends
that
from
audience.
college
Okay.
and beyond.
Yeah. So my kid and I are going to see Mockingbird, To Kill a Mockingbird at 2, and then pretty much go right to the stand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a 2.5 hour show. So we
Oh,
have
so you're
going
gonna
to
go see a play.
Yeah,
And then-
very heavy drama, and then go to the stand because I don't think there's time to go back up to Harlem and then come back down to the stand.
Does he know that it ends like Anne Frank?
You know what? I'm just gonna let it happen
what
as
it
it
is.
happens.
There you go.
Unfold as it may.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that Saturday.
Okay.
And then,
The 16th, the 15th, I picked up 7 sets.
nice.
And, I think I have to change my set because I think I had an early set at New York Comedy Club before the original time of the stand.
Yeah.
So now I have to swap it out.
Yeah.
But I also have an 11:15.
exciting.
Yeah.
I am flying out on Friday night, so I can't do.
Oh,
stand-up
really?
then. Yeah, I take the red eye all the time.
Oh,
It's my
right.
Jeff
To
Lee
get
thing.
there
Yeah.
on Saturday morning.
Because my son is with me, we're gonna leave after the podcast and go back to
Harlem and
Yeah.
sleep and have
Yeah.
lives. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch anime.
Right.
I love to fly across the country to watch anime.
If only you could take him somewhere like Machu Picchu so you could watch anime and in Machu Picchu.
Sure.
He's always wanted to see the Great Barrier Reef, but not really, just anime at the Great Barrier Reef. And it's like, when can we go to China so I can see? Anyway, I've taken it too far. Just
No.
2 I should have stuck with 2.
Hey,
What-
you don't know until you try.
Exactly. Got to keep writing.
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh, did I have anything? Oh, so I'm talking to. I do have one new bit that is way too big because Andy Ashcraft. I was telling him there was a lot of. I got a lot of stories from my family this weekend because my brother Phil went to Milwaukee and had lunch with my dad. So what happens is I get tales from the Greek family restaurant is what I get, and it led to this conversation with Andy about how when I was a kid, I was never judged harshly by my siblings because I was the youngest. Nobody ever expected anything.
You're the
of me.
baby.
I was the baby
Right.
of 6. So I wasn't expected to get in. Like my sister, when she was 5, got everybody up for school.
What?
And my brother Phil, who would have been, I think, 11, cooked all the meals. And my brother Russ, who was
Wow.
like 9, he was the liaison with my grandmother and our father.
Can I just tell you, I told my son to put dishes in the dishwasher, and he put a giant bowl facing up on the very top.
Right.
rack.
Well, here's because Phil just heard this story from my brother Russ. When Russ was 9, it was right after my dad left my mom because it was bad, right? So he went to Milwaukee to live the good life, we all assumed. And so it came to pass. He lived a perfectly nice 4 years without us.
Wow.
He sent money
That's-
to my grandmother, but he
So
couldn't.
you guys were living with
Our mother, the 6
And-
of us.
and your grandma?
No, my grandmother was down the block.
Okay.
And but get
but your
this.
mom was drinking, right?
Yeah, she was a mess. So she was a mess. Russ was 9, and my grandmother was gone for the weekend, and Russ couldn't get a hold of my dad. So Russ took 3 buses to downtown Milwaukee from South Milwaukee, got on a train to go to Chicago when he was 9.
Whoa.
Got on a bus when he got to Chicago to Evanston to go to my great aunt's house so he could tell my grandmother that she needed to come home because my mother was a mess.
Oh my God.
So Russ was checked in. Him and Darla were punched in from an early age. Phil had mostly
A child shouldn't have to be that responsible.
true. Well, the great line was Phil said, I used to think that, the trauma that I suffered as a kid, that, sometimes I think that I was the only one, and then I hear a story like that and I'm like, oh no, things were happening all around me. And it's one of my favorite things about my brother Phil is that he can still be taught at the age of 62, right? Or whatever he is. And so Russ has always been of the opinion that our oldest brother, who would have been 14 at the time, that there was a leadership vacuum that Terry should have stepped into. He should have used, when my father left, he should have used that time wisely. And I've always posited that Terry completely used that time wisely. He got stoned, he got laid, he partied like a wild man, and he encouraged Phil and Scott to do it as well. And then Russ was clocked in though, and Darla was clocked in, and Phil tried to help, and Phil helped, and but the crazy thing is, I was never expected to clock in, right? Because I was so little. And then by the time I would have had to take responsibility for myself and do these things, Nancy had come into our lives and had sort of fixed everything. And whether
For all 6 of you?
Well, Terry was sent away almost immediately
To boarding school?
No, to reform school.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, it was bad. And then he started his own church. Anyway,
Oh, he's your evangelical brother.
yeah, he is.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but get this is this is the longest way to get to the fact that Andy was like, so she fixed my grandmother always said that my stepmother fixed our lives. And I was like, yeah, willingly and unwillingly.
Your dad's mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Nancy, I just realized in the moment that Nancy Cation's favorite movie of all time was The Sound of Music.
Oh my God.
She thought that she was going to have speaking of stepmothers, and there were 6 of us, that she was going to come in. She sang, did a lot of singing, and she had charts and graphs.
It was your dad.
He was not Mr. Von Trapp. He was not Baron Von Trapp at all.
Was Von Trapp a Nazi, or he was?
No, he was.
I haven't seen.
He was the guy who ripped the
Yes,
Nazi
right,
flag,
okay.
and you've seen the meme. And and the Turks, there were no Turks that were wooing Darla or I. I am 16, going on 17.
That's
but,
right. Liesel.
Yep. And but I think Nancy thought it was going to be like The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
And it was not. And so we were not precocious children. We were relatively broken, and she couldn't fix it. So all she could do was instill order and boundaries and fix some chaos.
Sure.
Which did a great deal for all of us, quite honestly. But so I'm telling Andy that's her favorite movie, and Russ, and Andy says to me, you have to write A Sound of Music where Nancy is the nun, is Julie Andrews. And I was like, well, that could be a bit. I could do some sort of act out and maybe even a 20-minute solo kind of show kind of thing. And he goes, no, full production. Right. And I was like, fuck you. I am not writing a musical that's 3 hours long.
That seems like an incredible. Like Tina Fey wrote a musical.
Did
right?
she?
Mean Girls is a musical.
Oh God.
She's done like a little bit of everything really, really well. She's very extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I always think, like if we didn't have to get up on stage every fucking night, what could we have done?
Cured cancer?
Who knows?
Right.
I don't know. It's so time consuming to be a comic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you can't
think about the people who quit at like 10 or 12 years.
Apatow, right?
Did he quit at 10 or 12 years?
I don't know. Something like that, but he's
But
directed major movies, right?
And then got back into it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Quit for 20 years, be incredibly successful, and then
Eddie
circle
Murphy.
back. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Well,
but I mean, it's hard. It's something it's really hard to do in conjunction with something else,
Yeah.
Stand up.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, what you put your energy in is what you've got these books that are amazing. Maria just told me that she just listened to Dead People Suck.
Oh, really?
And how great it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was like, it was poignant and kind of heartbreaking and super sweet, also incredibly funny. And I was like,
neat.
yes, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, cool.
Well done, Laurie
Thank you.
Kilmartin. Dead People Suck. And but because Maria's writing this book for Audible, and so she must have got a bunch of free credits from Audible. No, I have no idea.
What's the book about?
I think it's something like How to Do Stand-Up Comedy or something, which she will not be taking seriously. I have had it read to me, and but not all of it, because she refuses to. She thinks that I'll get bored, and I was like, I don't think you understand how many books on tape I listen to. I would love to hear you listen, because it's only going to be a 2-hour book, and I'm like, I'll sit here.
That's still a lot of words.
It's a lot of words for her to do in one sitting. Like, for her to read to me for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Would be possibly. She's lasted 45 minutes to an hour is the most she's been able to read to me out loud. And I'm like, come on, man.
I am stuck reading Harry Potter out loud until
I know it.
We're done.
Has he seen all the movies
so
yet?
Angry.
Or?
No, he won't watch the movies until we finish. He's
the
doing
whole
a thing just to torture me, I think.
I
Because
think
he
he
falls
is.
asleep and he doesn't give a shit. But he won't let me stop reading it.
What book are you on?
So sad when that's done.
No, I can't wait. I hope they all die now. I'm only on Order of the Phoenix.
Ooh, Order of the... That's a good one.
5, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're all like 800 pages long.
Yeah, the next two, there was no editing. She was not... No
There's
one was
no
allowed
editing
to,
here. She
was-
reintroduces every character, every single book. It's like, can you just assume people have read the other stuff?
Yeah.
You don't have to tell. I don't need to hear the story about
Right.
Harry's scar again. I fucking got it.
Here's the good
She
news.
repeats
Now you
so
know.
much shit.
Right. That's because by the fifth book, I think they were done editing. Book 7, there's 200 pages of her camping.
Who camping?
They're camping.
Oh,
Don't
God.
forget the book inside the book, too.
Oh, Jesus, the book inside the book.
Can I skip it? Can
You can...
Book's essential. Camping
The,
can go.
yeah, the camping can go. You can skim the camping. Because the thing about the camping...
And all the names are hard to say. Rubbly planks, crookshanks, umbrage. It's all stuff where, like, if I'm tired, my mouth, I have to like fucking form shit with my lips, and I'm just can't people be named Bob?
Hagrid could.
Hagrid, Hermione,
You know Hermione.
Harry. Why are all the H names? What's with H?
J.K. Rowling talked about when she didn't know that Harry Potter was going to be such a big deal, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, I wouldn't have named her Hermione. Turns out no one in America has ever heard the name Hermione, and they don't know how to pronounce it.
I was called it Hermione until I saw the movie.
Yeah, you had to see
I saw a movie.
Yeah. And the first movie, I think, is one it holds up, I think, almost the best. Is that not your favorite?
No, I like when they stop being accurate to the books and start being good movies.
You think that they become good movies? Interesting. Okay. So I just...
Third one.
You like the...
Yeah.
Azkaban?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's but you just gotta go to Orlando to the good
No,
wizard.
I don't. I don't. What? What?
I want to go back to Orlando so bad.
Oh my God.
I know it. I got to go back to Orlando. All right, I'm being laughed at. What? How
How
much time
long have we
done?
done?
46.
Listen, I'm a hotshot Hollywood movie producer. You have until I finish my glass of kombucha to pitch me your idea. Go.
All right, it's called Who Shot Ya, a movie podcast that isn't just a bunch of straight white dudes. I'm Iffy Whitey, the new host of the show and a certified BBN.
BBN?
Buff Black Nerd.
I'm Alonzo Duralde, an elderly gay and legit film critic who wrote a book on Christmas movies.
I'm Drea Clark, a loud white lady from Minnesota.
Each week, we talk about a new movie in theaters and all the important issues going on in the film industry.
It's like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner meets cruising.
And if it helps seal the deal, I can flex my muscles while we record each episode.
I'm sorry, this is a podcast? I'm a movie producer. How did you get in here?
Iffy, quick, start flexing.
Bicep, lats, chest. Who Shot Ya? Dropping every Friday on MaximumFun.org or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I was on Twitter, I think Friday or Thursday.
Shocking.
I mean, on all the time. But I see Hannibal Buress trending.
Oh,
And I was like, oh shit, what's happening now?
Did you follow it back?
Yes, it was
was
the
it?
weirdest. He's a landlord. That was like basically the story. But
I saw your tweet about
so
that.
he quotes Bernie Sanders. Wait, was it Bernie? Yeah, because he's a Yang Gang guy. All right, I don't want
Yang Gang.
Andrew Yang.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Okay. People support who they support. But so Bernie tweeted something about rent control.
Okay.
And so Hannibal quote tweeted
I'm
wrong.
I'm going to go out on a limb. Bernie was 4.
Yes. And then underneath his wrong tweet, he tweeted like, please donate or something. And the link was to a landlord association in Illinois.
Boo.
And then every of course, the Twitter swarm. He's a landlord. He owns buildings in Illinois. And then they, people found like screen grabs of when he
Of the
talked
slums
about
that he owns. Does he own
I don't
slums?
know, but I guess he
Hannibal Buress, I picture owning several condos and literally renting out condos.
I think he Airbnbs one of them. Okay. One of them's like a professional I don't know. And then he just invested in property, which is a great idea. And any comic who gets any money should do the same,
right?
But it was like such a minor story, and it was trending like all day, and people and you were forced to investigate it, and you're like, wait, this is it? Okay, this guy helped break Cosby, and this is a story now. It's just so strange.
It's
it kind of made me laugh.
It is funny that, but it turns out stand-up comedy pays what it pays, and you might want to buy land or do acorns. Do you hear about acorns?
Yeah.
Where they round up and then they save your pennies. And then at the end of the year, you have $750 that you didn't have, which is more money than I think I ever saved before I actively started.
You put it in the stock market, an index fund. You don't look at it for 50 years.
Oh, wait a minute.
And then you retire a millionaire.
When $1 million is worth 12 cents. It's Futurama. We're all living in an episode of Futurama. But Acorn is supposed to be pretty good, I guess. And then there was an ad on Dork Forest for Robin Hood, which is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like Acorns. But
I listened to a bit of a Joe Rogan podcast. I was like, I haven't listened to him in a long
podcast. You can listen to... What are you doing,
Jackie? I do hear your voice.
But here's the great thing about the Dork Forest. I'm not talking that much.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of great.
All right.
Wow, that's an evil laugh like you think that I'm wrong. Oh, am I wrong? Wow. I'll tell you, the graph on this
Rogan
one is going to be me.
Yes, it will be. But his guest really influences his personality in his podcast, I think. Like I like Duncan Trussell, so there's this kind of just goofy and fun to listen to. Now it's 3 hours long, and I was like, I think I've heard enough, but I also I don't know, we'll see.
What about Norton and Trump? Did you hear about that?
I saw that picture, Norton and Trump Jr.
Yeah. Jim Norton had Edward Trump Jr.
Eric.
Okay.
Eric and Donald Jr.
Whatever. Who cares? Ixnay and Dumb Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do.
What?
But he would like the numbers.
What?
That's why he did it. The numbers.
Yeah.
He's just trying to get listeners.
I guess so.
And Norton could be, and it's usually not this bad, but he's kind of a shock jock guy. And he's like a fucked up version of Doug Stanhope, Norton, and which I think is a way to.
He very early on was doing Opie and Anthony a lot, and then he became another voice on Opie and Anthony. It was like he was like a third guy.
Was that a radio show before it was a podcast, or was it always a podcast?
Oh, it was a radio show. Yeah, it was
always a radio show.
It was on afternoon. I used to work out to it. It was on afternoon radio on regular radio in New York City, and then Paul Mercurio recorded people having sex in St. Paul's Cathedral. If I'm not. Yeah,
that does sound vaguely
familiar. I think that got them
all fired,
kicked
or
off, right?
Yeah.
And so then they went to Sirius, or they went to XM.
Okay,
and then I don't know, since I'm not part of that scene anymore. Opie and Anthony seem to be at odds, right?
He flipped out.
Yes, right.
And then it became the Opie and Jim show.
Right.
Oh yeah, Opie and Jim show.
Jim
and Sam, but I don't know who Sam is.
Who's Sam?
Who was part of the gang.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, he has a heavy radio background. It's like that's like 20 years basically.
That's 20 years of being on radio, yeah,
and 20 years of radio income and stuff. So I don't know. It's not how I think of him, but I don't know.
I've mostly done storytelling shows with him, where he tells some nightmare story about how him and some kid used to trade blowjobs underneath a porch.
He was one of the earlier guys like admitting that kind of stuff, before
sleeping with transvestites and transvestite prostitutes.
Yeah, and I mean he was early in
but there wasn't
talking
any,
about that
but
kind of stuff.
They weren't jokes. They were just stories.
He did well, yeah, but I mean funny stories.
He's got because the stuff I heard weren't
if you're at a storytelling
right.
event,
They weren't supposed to.
Yeah,
they weren't supposed to be.
Right.
They were. I mean, it could have been funnier, but because they weren't unfunny stories, but they weren't even set up to be funny stories.
Okay.
They were just set up to be.
I mean, he's
reveals.
like a great killer comic. Like bam, 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 bam.
Like set a punch. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like
I've never seen his stand up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's great.
We went to.
I guess
it is.
I mean,
it just it was like, oh no, why are you interviewing these guys? But I don't, whatever. People start to veer off in different directions, I guess.
Well, money'll drag your dick in many different directions.
Sure,
right?
Mine has been dragged
so many times. I just got to take it out of that drawer and then got to go, where's this dick? It's like a dowsing rod. Hey, thanks for playing.
We went to Iraq. We went to Jim and Colin Quinn and I went to Iraq when we did shows.
When?
In 2004. And
what? Oh, well, you've been hiding your Iraq light under a bushel.
Now this is coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
Camp Victory?
I don't remember.
Baghdad?
Yeah, we went to Baghdad. We went to Baghdad. We were in Saddam Hussein's palaces. I told you this. It was filled with
I was in the guest house. This is a classic Kilmartin-cation story. She got the palace. I got the guest house.
I had the pool.
Okay.
Mine had a pond, and because Saddam Hussein supposedly had a belief that buildings that were surrounded by water, Allah couldn't see them, and so horrible things could happen in them.
Oh,
and so there was a brothel that were children, a children's brothel that was in this island in the middle of this thing, and you're like, what? And is it hopefully empty? And would you fucking burn it to the ground?
Ugh, God.
No.
He had a little pool. It wasn't like 25 yards. There's no lane
was the one
ropes.
that Ralphie May jumped in? Peed in. Did he pee in it? I've heard stories. Okay.
I don't know.
There was a video of him jumping in it. Ralphie May.
I hope it was after I swam in it.
You swam in it?
We did meet with, I brought my suit and I swam in it.
Of course you brought yours.
But we did meet with these special forces guys because we had plans and then there was like some bombing in the city we were supposed to go to. So we ended up going to a different place. And I think it was in Baghdad. Like, you're supposed to leave Baghdad and we didn't. And so we met with these special forces guys and it's Colin Quinn from Remote Control and Tough Crowd.
Okay.
So they showed us this collection of guns they had just taken from terrorists, right?
Right.
And we just hung out with them all night. And I went swimming with one of the guys. And there was this, I just remember this.
Swimming?
Yes.
There
was a guy. No, Jackie, it's not all, I don't lead your life. Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but I've been in a committed monogamous relationship for some time.
Yeah.
You are a lady you coulda is what I'm saying.
I coulda, but everyone was married.
Okay.
I don't want to fuck a married special forces guy.
Please don't. That's gross.
But one of them
and you're not gross.
Was 19 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I remember.
Right.
Okay, memory's flawed, but his name was Aaron. He was from Tennessee, and he spoke fluent Farsi. Yes, and other languages. So he was some kind of savant.
Okay.
And I was, and then like 2 nights later, there was like this huge raid that we think they were involved in.
Oh, okay.
But like I we weren't
long
allowed to
were you
take
there?
pictures of them. Just overnight. We spent maybe like
how long were you in Iraq?
like 2 weeks, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, 10 days, 2 weeks. Yeah.
Did you get to shoot the guns?
No. They were captured weapons, and so they were on lockdown. No,
Right.
we weren't allowed to shoot them.
Because I went in 2005, I think, or 2006 with Scott Kennedy.
Oh yeah,
And
may he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. 42 weeks in a row, 42 months in a row. He went to Iraq and brought,
my
and brought
God.
2 other comics. 42 months in a row. And
What airline did you fly out there?
it was United, and he gave me his points to bump me up to business.
Wow,
Very nice. That's
Yeah.
that's a true hero,
That's
quite
sweet.
honestly. And
you didn't ask me what airline I flew.
what airline? did
British
you-
Airways,
British Airways,
business.
business class, because you were with Colin Quinn.
Yeah,
That's why.
it's amazing.
I bet.
I'll
I
do
bet.
anything for our troops if I can fly business class to where they're fighting.
Oh my god! So how were the shows? Did you do any forward operating bases? And
They were some of them were spontaneous. One of them was on a picnic bench, and the people had been awake for 24 hours straight on
Right.
something, and they
so you just stood on right.
Yeah,
There was plenty of
basically, yeah.
that.
a lot of
but-
that. Yeah, and then
but-
some like official like shows, and
Indoors.
indoors,
'Cause
outdoors.
we did a
yeah.
bunch of outdoor stuff, and then one was in a brand new mess hall that smelled like plywood.
Oh.
And and then we just hugged a bunch of soldiers and
yeah,
sent them on
something
their
like
way.
that. We did something like that.
Yeah. Wow.
There's this bald guy in who was like he wasn't a general, but he was like higher up, but he was kind of running things at the one of the places we were at, and he was totally hitting on Colin's assistant, who's like 25, and he was like,
Colin brought us assistant.
oh yeah. He had been in like Vietnam. All right, dude, just I know he's like a professional soldier. This is a guy that only lives, in tents.
Yeah.
And so
This-
weird.
That is, yeah. That's
Our life is normal.
yeah. Well, comparatively, for sure, weird. I don't have anything to. Did you fly in helicopters?
I don't think so.
We got to pose with guns. We didn't get to shoot any off because they stopped right in 2003, 2004. If you went to Iraq, they usually let you shoot weapons.
Really? We were
Yeah,
there
the comics.
over the New Year's Eve weekend.
Okay.
And so we did a New Year's Eve show in Saddam Hussein's palace. And I think the general's name was Ricardo Sanchez. Does that sound familiar? He was like scandalized with the Guantanamo stuff later, I think. But anyway, he was just standing there, watching the show, laughing occasionally.
Okay.
Because it was very casual,
Yeah.
It was an impromptu show because we weren't allowed to go to our actual show. So we just started
Just put
telling
one up.
jokes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's it. You might as well.
All right. Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.